Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Table Talk. I'm your host, Jake Combs, and tonight we are going to be looking at Swampboss Skumdrekk and the Arena Mortis for Dire Chasm. Now, from what I understand, Arena Mortis is already out. We just got a little bit behind with our releasing schedule just because of some confusions with embargo dates. I could be wrong. It may be releasing very shortly, but not 100% certain either way. But worth checking out for sure as far as the date goes, just to verify. Swampboss Skumdrekk, though, is available as of this Saturday. So basically, by the time that this is actually released, right now I'm recording it's Wednesday evening, and it will be posted early Thursday morning. So the following Saturday is when this is going to be out. Now, because of the fact that, at least with this one, is obviously early, this possibly is. Either way, these were sent to us by Games Workshop for the purpose of this video. But as always, them supplying content for us to cover does not guarantee our opinion one way or the other. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and open up Arena Mortis. Now, this is essentially the second Arena Mortis that I'm aware of. So with the previous edition, they did one as well for Beastgrave. And then, from what I understand, what it is a way to essentially kind of do like arena battles. It's meant as an expansion. So basically, the way it's explained on the back of the box, it's a fast-paced variant designed for 3 to 6 players, so it actually allows more players to play at once. Each player uses a single fighter, so it looks like it's going to be a kind of a brawl to the death type thing. And then, so it comes with new boards, power cards to be used in any game of Underworlds, the rules for playing Arena Mortis, hazard cards, fighter cards, and tokens. So the hazard cards, outside of Arena Mortis, the only one that I could think of that actually came with those before, I don't know if the original Arena Mortis did, was the version of Underworlds that came out that was exclusive to Barnes & Noble and I believe some other bookstores. In the US, it was Barnes & Noble exclusive. I'm not sure overseas. So, to start off with, we have our rule book. It basically gives you a breakdown of all of the contents, little information about what Arena Mortis is, and then we go into the rules for how to play, and then other ways to play for like tag team elimination games, team games for 4 to 6 players, and then the final page is basically a quick reference sheet. And then we have our 2 boards, which is one single board, double-sided. And looking at these, I mean, they look like these are like straight from the Realm of Chaos or something, because they are dark and spooky for sure. I mean, this one kind of looks like some weird plant growth grown out of a giant mound of skulls, where this one kind of looks like almost like what I would expect from like a Tyranid hive of some sort, with a kind of like a pit at the bottom, kind of like the Star Wars Sarlacc, something like that. And then we have our various tokens, and we now have a couple of our kitten friends joining us. They are usually sleeping in one of the bedrooms this time of night when I'm filming. So this is kind of a new experience for them. And now they've decided to play with my mic cord. Come here, buddy. Oh, hi. All right, so with our cards, it looks like we actually have 2 unique character cards to be used. Dolorghast inspired and Fullbringer inspired. And then on the back shows you their models as well. Then we have our various ability cards that can be used. And then we have looks like it says first place through 6th place cards. I'm guessing these are basically the order of play. Now, one thing I will remind everybody, if you are using a knife to open your products, make sure you are always cutting away from yourself. And if you are on the younger side, make sure that you have an adult help you. So this stack of cards, let's see, looks like these are trap cards or hazard cards, whatever you want to call them. Like Beastgrave's Wrath, which is a mountain's hunger grows, so too does the savagery of those caught within. +1 damage to range 1 and range 2 attack actions. This effect persists until the end of the next action phase. So like some of them aren't actually going to cause damage to you, but can actually enhance the damage that you're going to output. So very cool. Definitely looking forward to bringing these into our games of Underworlds. I know it's actually been quite a while since we've actually gotten a game in. I think with the release of Dire Chasm was probably the last time we played. And they've already announced, I believe it's called Harrow Deep, which is the next season. So definitely looking forward to that. I like that we're going to be getting some Cruel Boys for Underworlds with that box set. And speaking of Cruel Boys, we now have Swampboss Skumdrekk. Now, I will mention, as far as next week goes, we are going to be doing some more unboxings. We have supposedly, if it arrives in time anyway, a new orc kit from 40K, one of the ones that are on pre-order currently this week. Well, as of Saturday, they're on pre-order. And so whatever of those arrive, we will be unboxing them next week. If they don't arrive in time, we do have some other goodies that we're going to open up from the bookstore exclusive sets. All right. Now, let's take a look. So one thing I've noticed in the kits or the packaging and the preview images, it does show 2 different heads for the beast. For the, actually it doesn't say on the front. The sludge raker beast. So it basically has 2 different heads that you can use. But looking at them, it appears that they're the exact same head, but basically one is without the helmet and one is with. So I suspect that you can basically take the helmet on or off, or there are literally two different heads. See if I can just take a look at the sprues and figure out which is the case. Okay, so we got the heads right here. And then, okay, it actually looks like it is two different heads. Because I found the armor right here for the head, and it is attached to a head underneath as well. The only question is, where would the lower jaw be? Because the other head actually has a lower jaw with it, and this one is missing it. Now, as far as the model itself goes, the Sludge Raker, I'm pretty sure it's Sludge Raker, it definitely has a lot of detail. I mean, you can actually see a lot of scarring. There's branding on the leg of the Sludge Raker. And correct if I'm wrong, I apologize. Looking at the spelling, it just sounds more like Sludge Raker, since it's R-A-K-E-R instead of a C-K. But again, I could be wrong, because sometimes the combination of words can look a little funny and be pronounced completely wrong, or at least interpreted completely wrong by myself, which does happen quite a bit, honestly. I can't tell you how many times my wife has corrected my pronunciation of something, or that I just accidentally screw it up, just because brain fart. And so as far as the Sludge Raker goes, again, tons of detail. We see individual scales. We see a lot of, kind of creases in the skin or folds. And then we also have, details on each of the pieces of wood. The grains of the wood are very visible. And so using like a contrast paint or using a wash is really going to help define those a lot more, and same with some dry brushing. We got a lot of hanging chains as well, because this guy is meant to be basically trying to capture people. I don't know if it's to capture people to eat or capture people as slaves. I'm guessing probably more the former than the latter. And then we have a couple different body options for the Cruel Boy that's riding on top. One is him holding some chains, and one is him holding kind of a nice long kind of grabbing spiked tool. Now the Cruel Boy bodies don't have nearly as much detail as the Sludge Raker, but even for as small as those models are, they do still have quite a bit of detail. The guys or the people that create these models definitely do not skimp on the detail. I mean, I can't think of another company who produces miniatures that does as much detail regularly as Games Workshop does, and it really shows. And then on top of that, you have the fantastic IP itself, and you'll have people that love to paint is definitely going to be an ideal venue for them for sure. And so definitely looking forward to getting this guy built and painted. Now, as far as our assembly guide, again, we are following the more modern style where you have, the color changes where it shows where the last piece you put on was, so that way you can see how it matches up with the new pieces. It makes assembly much easier. And one thing I didn't actually notice is that there's actually more than one cage too. So you actually have a couple different cages that are going to hang from different spots. And then one thing I really like is that for the breakdown of all the different attacks and weapons, it does give you the range by inches, so it's much easier to interpret. So with these rules, the way that they're written, figuring out what you're going to roll is a lot easier to understand than the way it was done before, where you just have like a value, and then you'd have to kind of do some quick math to figure out, okay, well, this value versus this value, this is what I have to roll. Or instead, it's giving you 3 plus, -1, things like that to affect your rolls. And absolutely just loving the Cruel Boys models that they're coming out with. I've said it many times on the show, I've never been a fan of the destruction of Grand Alliance, but with the Cruel Boys, I am absolutely loving these models. They are a lot of fun to put together and paint, and they just have so much personality. I love the just crawled from the swamp look that they have. Definitely makes them stand out from a lot of the other greenskins that we're used to seeing. And then also this past week, we went ahead and got started with our membership with Warhammer Plus, and so I wanted to share my thoughts on that with you guys. Now, as of right now, there are only really 2 actual shows on there as far as the animation side goes. We have Hammer and Bolter, and then we have the I believe it's Angels of Death. And so with Angels of Death, the voice acting is not perfect, but the visuals are quite stunning, and I love the fact that everything's in black and white except for the red. So it's all just shades of black and white, and then the red armor, the red blood, the red gems, things like that you see are still very prominent red. And I think it actually enhances the video, where if you had it fully colorized for some of the scenes, I think you'd kind of get a little bit lost in some of the detail. And having it with this striking contrast really gives you more of a focus of the characters themselves and less on the carnage. And the story is actually a lot more engaging than I expected it to be. From what I had heard, the team that had put this together, filmed it, animated it, wrote it, are the same ones that are behind the Astartes fan film on YouTube. And from what I've heard, a lot of the voice acting is very similar as far as quality goes, but the animation is very top notch, and definitely really enjoying that aspect of it for sure. And definitely into the story right now, looking forward to seeing where it goes. Today released the 5th episode of that. For Hammer and Bolter, we still only have the first 3 episodes that were available at launch. And personally, I loved all three of them. They were a lot of fun. The animation was a little bit more of a kind of a graphic anime than what I expected, and but it was a lot of fun. Definitely didn't take itself too seriously, especially with the old Baelai episode, and found it to be the best show on there. Now they've added Lore Masters, where this week we got the second episode of that where it talks about Teclis, and so I've watched both episodes of that, learned a lot more about Abaddon and Teclis than I thought I knew. And so there was a lot more to them, and actually gave a really good explanation of how the elves transitioned from before end times to where they are now in Age of Sigmar, and kind of explain some of the rivalries, especially with the Adonith Deepkin as well involved. And I honestly had no idea how they came into the picture. I just knew that they were there. I hadn't read anything Adonith related, so having them explain that definitely made a lot of sense. So personally, I'm really enjoying the shows on there. Is it worth the $7 a month if you're paying monthly? It depends on what you're trying to get out of it, honestly. Personally for me, the fact that at the end of the year you're getting a model that would go for $30 to $40, and some great shows, a lot of masterclass videos for painting, which I'm definitely going to take advantage of. There are battle reports done by the team as well that are actually quite engaging and very well filmed. Also gave me a better idea of kind of some of the things I'm up against when I play against Stormcast, because most people that I've played against are not very experienced, so there's a lot of things that they're overlooking and not trying, that they probably just don't realize are there for them. And seeing how formidable that the Stormcast can really be. So personally, I do think that it is worth the price if you are a Warhammer fan. If you're more of a casual person dipping in your toe into the hobby a little bit, don't want to dive full in, it may not be for you. But if you are, either playing the 40K or Age of Sigmar, you have full access to the apps with, all the rules. You're just missing some of the stuff from the different codexes or battle tomes, and where normally that was a paid membership for, like, I think it's like $2 less than what you pay for Warhammer Plus, and you get both of those. On top of all the shows and the miniatures. So, if you are someone that plays the games, it definitely is worth it in my opinion, especially for when you include the miniature into that equation. Now, personally for me, I went with the Assassin miniature for 40K. I'm more of an Age of Sigmar player, but that miniature just looked fantastic and looked like it would be a lot more fun to paint. And seeing as I don't play orcs, but I am now getting into Cruel Boys, I didn't really want to go with the orc figure because he looked really more generic compared to some of the other orcs out there versus the assassin and some of the Imperium models out there. So I definitely went with the one that I thought was going to be a lot more fun to paint, something that would go on display, more than something that might get played but probably wouldn't. So those are my thoughts on Warhammer Plus. And again, next week we'll have some more unboxings for you. I hope you guys enjoyed. We look forward to seeing you guys all next week. And then thank you all for watching. Good night.